Guys, so we have an urgent breaking news coming out. The Doomsday Plane just took off. The US Air Force's E-4B Night Watch, also known as the Flying Pentagon, is airborne over the Midwest, nicknamed the Doomsday Plane. It's built to keep the Gov running in case of nuclear war or national emergency. Its launch comes just hours after US airstrike on Persian nuclear sites. Coincidence? Maybe. But this aircraft doesn't just go up for a joyride. Alright, so we're going to see what's going on here, guys. We have a lot more information. Let me just pull up this one here. Once again, please share the video. You have massive GPS jamming hits Persian Gulf. And look at this one here. The former leader of Russia reacts. Number of countries now ready to supply Persia with their own nuclear warheads. Wow. So what Donald did just made the situation a lot worse. It seems like countries are going to give nuclear to Persia as a gift. Alright guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters, a prayer request, you send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife Jessica Santiago at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. You know how the US, the slogan is peace through strength. Well, it seems like that's what Persia is going to receive. Nukes, peace through strength. So countries are going to start giving their stuff to Persia. And that's not good. So we're going to see what's going on with all this news here, guys. Doomsday Plane. This is all the information we are getting. But right now, Doomsday Plane is in the air. Here's the information on the left side. Alright, so also, guys, make sure you check out this video here. The link will be in the comments box. There was a very important bulletin by the Department of Homeland Security, summary of the threat to the U.S. Alright, so multiple cities on high alert. The link will be in the comments box. And I thought that the world was going to see peace. Alright, so it says here, massive GPS jamming hits Persian Gulf. Alright, so commercial planes near Persia, southern coast, are glitching like it's 1999. And unconfirmed reports say large-scale GPS jamming is to blame. The jamming hotspot? Right near the Strait of Hormuz. Oh man, we just posted a video about that. Also known as the global oil traffic jam, where 1/5 of the world's petroleum floats through daily. This comes just after the U.S. impacted Persian nuclear sites and tensions hit DEFCON. Oh no. Experts say GPS spoofing and jamming are classic moves in Persia playbook when things get dicey. It is defensive, scrambling, saber, rattling, or the digital equivalent of flipping the bird. Truly apologize about that. Whatever it is, commercial pilots aren't loving the guess where you are challenge at 35,000 feet. Alright, so once again, there's some GPS jamming signal going on there. And the Strait of Hormuz is the big one. Now Persia is thinking about closing it, which will raise the price. We're talking about oil, and that will impact many across the world. Alright, let's see what's going on here. The former leader of the Bear, Dmitry, reacts. Number of countries now ready to supply Persia with their own nuclear warheads. On Sunday morning, the Bear former leader and current deputy chairman of the country's Security Council, Dmitry, issued his reaction to the major U.S. overnight strike on Persian nuclear facility, giving what's essentially the view of where things stand from the Kremlin. Dmitry, in a 10-point list of reaction, characterized the strike as ultimately ineffective and that it will blow back on America and Holy Land in a way opposite than intended, especially as Persia's capital Tehran will now only push harder for a nuke. An allied country might now simply be willing to supply them to the Persians. Give me a second here, guys. I had to pause the video. I don't want to get hit with a copyright. Interestingly, Dmitry has also echoed Moscow's stance on nuclear warheads in the Mideast and has written over the weekend on his page, does Persia have nuclear equipment? We don't know. But we know that Holy Land has a secret nuclear program. Well, let them both renounce such programs under the supervision of the UN Security Council and the IAEA. So, information's coming out of the Holy Land, they have nukes. Persia is saying, well, if you want me to give up my nuclear program, I'll gladly give it up if Holy Land gives up their nukes. Everybody wins. Holy Land, well, didn't respond, didn't say nothing, and they're not down with giving up their equipment. So, Holy Land has nukes, but Persia doesn't. Now it says here, for the 10-point critic of the brazen U.S. heavy bombing of the Persians, Dmitry wrote on X as follows: "What have the Americans accomplished with their nighttime strike on 3 sites in Persia?" He first posed before listening. Number 1, critical infrastructure of the nuclear fuel cycle appears to have been unaffected or sustained only minor damage. And we already talked about that. There's no leak and stuff like that. Number 2, the enrichment of nuclear material. And now we can say it outright. The future production of nuclear equipment will continue. Number 3, a number of countries are ready to directly supply Persia with their own nuclear warheads. Number 4, Holy Land is under strike. Explosions are rocking the country and millions are panicking. Well, I'm not trying to start anything, but you could thank Donald for that. Donald is the one that caused Persia to strike to Holy Land. You got millions of people panicking. That was Donald's fault. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to start anything, but Donald is the one that gave the green light. They hit the facility. Persia respond by hitting the Holy Land. Millions of Holy Land citizens are panicking. Whose fault is that? People need to wake up. You know, scripture says there's a way to dealing with all this, and that's letting God deal with the problem. You got to put God first. Solomon, he put God first, and what happened? Peace came because he put God first. The problem is nowadays, everybody say God is good. I'm a Christian. Supposedly, America Christianity is 230 million Americans are Christian. How many people believe that? If that was the case, we would not be in this situation. It says here, number 6. You have, number 5. The sleeping giant is now entangled in a new conflict with prospect of a ground operation looming on the horizon. Number 6. Persia's political regime has survived and in all likelihood has come out even stronger. Number 7. The people are rallying around the country's spiritual leadership, including those who were previously independent or opposed to it. Number 8. Donald once held as president of peace has now pushed the sleeping giant into biblical war. When spoken of peace and sudden destruction shall follow. Number 9, the vast majority of countries around the world oppose the action of the Holy Land and the sleeping giant. Number 10, at this rate, the Donald can forget about the Nobel Peace Prize, not even with how rigged it has become. The former leader of the Bear, Dmitry, actually finished his point number 10 with a sarcastic dig as the sleeping giant leader, writing, "What a way to kick things off. Mr. President, congratulations." This certainly complicates things in terms of the Bear military operation in UKR. Moscow has long received its major supply of the drones from Persia and has ongoing defense contracts and agreements, including possibility to receive mid-range missiles. Washington is flexing in Moscow direction with a major long-range B-2 bombers operation on the other side of the world. Here's the thing. The Bear is a lot stronger, much more powerful than Persia, and the Bear carried nuclear. So Donald would not do something like that. I don't think Donald would send B-2 bombers out there to obliterate the Bear, whatever nuclear facility or whatever. The Bear will retaliate, and they will retaliate with nuclear. That's the reason why Donald won't do that to the Bear, but they could do it to Persia. Persia is not as strong, as powerful as the Bear. You got RT is currently joining Persia IRNA News and greatly downplaying the sleeping giant bombing raids. Persia reporter finds Donald strike as nothing burger, only smoke from photo air defense, not nuclear site. Zero significant emergency activity. Donald's spectacular bombing just for show. So again, guys, the facility is not completely destroyed. It's not. According to, again, you have Saudi Arabia and others are saying that it's not destroyed. But Donald said it's obliterated, but it's really not. However, Washington is clearly targeting Persia as a part of a new axis, which some sleeping giant defense official had previously described as consisting of the Bear, Persia, North Korea. But to some degree, Donald likely went full bombs away on Persia because it is the weaker country among three. I told you guys, Donald did that to Persia because Persia has no nuclear. But when it comes to the Bear is much more powerful. I mean, the Bear is something that we need to stop because the Bear is literally pounding Crane. They're taking territories from Crane. But Donald won't do too much because Donald knows that the Bear is a very powerful country and they have nuclear. And such strike was easy, whereas it would be impossible to strike the Bear, there you go, on North Korea without triggering potential nuclear war. Again, guys, and I'm not trying to start anything, Donald only go after those in the bottom of the food chain. Though, again, Mexico, Donald goes after that. I mean, they don't got nothing in Mexico. No offense to Mexico. I love the Mexican people. All right, but when it comes to military stuff, no. All right, so Persia, no. But North K, the Red Dragon, and the Bear, that's a whole different ball game. That is a whole different ball game. And there's a reason why we still haven't done anything when it comes to Taiwan. All right, so give me a second here, guys. I'm trying to see what's going on with this Doomsday Plane. Trying to see what's going on with the Doomsday Plane. Let me just bring this information up here. So you have Bashir struck. Photo still uninspected. The IAEA warns of growing risk. All right, so these are very important updates here. Persia media says the Holy Land missile hit the city of Bashir, home to the country's only operational nuclear plant. The IAEA chief, Raphael, had warned earlier that a direct strike on Bashir could release some very, very dangerous levels of radiation across the Gulf. Meanwhile, you have the UN nuclear watchdog says it has not been able to access Persia nuclear sites, including Fordo, since Holy Land strikes began on Friday the 13th. It's crazy that it happened on Friday the 13th. They chose that date. Grossi says that the facility buried at Fordo was clearly hit by the Sleeping Giant bombers, but the damage underground remains unknown. He told the news he hopes IAEA inspectors can return to assess the sites as soon as possible. All right, so we shall see. Now, if that site is not destroyed, it's not going to look good for the Sleeping Giant. And there's a possibility, I think Persia might call for help and say, hey, to the Bear, Russia, China, hey, we need your help when it comes to airspace stuff. They came out of nowhere and struck us really hard. So there's a possibility these lands might go and help Persia. And the Sleeping Giant, like I said, this is my point of view. I think the Sleeping Giant was wrong for doing this here. There was other way of doing this, but Donald folded to Ben. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please share the video. For those of you that want to send us letters, prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. Once again, guys, $5 a month Patreon. We get you access to our live stream once a week. We talk about things that we cannot talk about on the platform. Also, I posted videos today. Those links will be in the comments box. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Put faith and trust in Jesus Christ. For He's the only way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through Jesus. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time later. Peace.